Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday, April the 2nd, and time once again for the mailbag. I hope you all have had a lovely week. Those of you who celebrate Easter, I hope you had a very, very nice holiday. Not a whole heck of a lot in the way of announcements. I guess I could talk about The Terror, couldn't I? Remember last week I went on and on about how excited I was for the miniseries? Well, okay, I watched it. Episode 1. Right? I mean, amazing acting, amazing production values, very good. Episode 2, yeah, they made some. There's always going to be changes, right? When a book you really like gets adapted to the screen, you have to understand that. You know, movies, television, books, they're all different media. You have to do different things with narrative. That's understood. But yeah, there's one major change that the miniseries makes to a very important character. That was a bad choice. And so far, as much as I can tell, the only reason they made that change was to give that character one line that essentially serves as a spoiler for information you're not actually supposed to get until much later in the story. So, stupid, stupid, stupid. I don't know why they did it. I'm going to keep watching, but let's just say my expectations are now considerably lowered. But if you're not someone who has read the book and you just want to go into the miniseries, then that little detail won't bother you and you may love it. But anyway, so other than that, yeah, not a whole heck of a lot in the way of announcements. I just have to vent a little bit of my disappointment to someone, I guess, and you're the lucky ones. Okay, let's get into the books then, shall we? This was a pretty good, solid average week. I'm going to say about 7 items. So without further ado, let's dig in and see what they are. And this first one is a white envelope, which usually denotes a tour title. And it is! We're going to start off with a bit of a bang this time. This is Head On, new novel by John Scalzi. This is a follow-up to Lock-In, book from a couple of years ago. And this, I believe, I don't think it is a direct sequel to Lock-In. It's another story set in the same near future where the world, or, you know, people in society, there has been a plague called Hayden's syndrome, which affects some people in such a way that they experience something called locked-in syndrome, which means they have a perfectly conscious mind, but their bodies are completely paralyzed. They can't even blink or talk or anything, but they're conscious and aware. Creepy thing is, locked-in syndrome is actually a real thing, but it's rare. And of course, Hayden's syndrome is a, fictionalized variant of that. But what happens in this universe is that technology has been developed through a neural net that allows people with Hayden's syndrome who are locked in to actually live normal lives. They can have their minds are essentially, wirelessly connected to robot bodies that allow them to move around and have normal lives. So now what we have is Head On, second book in this future, and it goes kind of like this. Comes out April 17th. Head On brings Scalzi's trademark snappy dialogue and accessible technological speculation to the world of sports. While exploring issues of esports, artificial intelligence, disability, the ethics of technology, and virtual reality, John Scalzi has crafted a mystery that will keep any reader rapt. Hilketa is a frenetic and violent pastime where players attack each other with swords and hammers. The main goal of the game, obtain your opponent's head and carry it through the goalposts. With flesh and bone bodies, a sport like this would be impossible. But all the players are threeps, robot-like bodies controlled by people with Hayden's syndrome, the virus that has swept a percentage of the world's population, causing them to be locked in, like I said. So anything goes. No one gets hurt, but the brutality is real and the crowds love it, until a star athlete drops dead on the playing field. Is it an accident or murder? FBI agents and Hayden-related crime investigators Chris Shane and Leslie Van are called in to uncover the truth, and in doing so travel to the darker side of the vast-growing sport of Hilketa, where fortunes are made or lost and where players and owners do whatever it takes to win on and off the field. So, yeah, same future, same characters, but I do think that this probably is a story that can be read as a standalone, although Lock-In is very enjoyable, and if you read it, it'll set up the future for you. Okay then. April the 17th from Tor, Head On. And next up, we appear to have one from a Random Penguin. And I'm pretty happy to see this. I already have it as an e-arc. But this is the hardcover copy for a new book by a debut author. The book is called From Unseen Fire. The author is someone named Cass Morris, and this appears to be a historical fantasy, so very much in the vein of somebody perhaps like Guy Gavriel Kay, or maybe the Kushil novels from Jacqueline Carey, which were sort of set in an alternate, past inspired by the Renaissance, that sort of thing. So let's see what we have here. This is... I looked all through it. It's a DAW hardcover, and they don't do sell sheets for whatever reason, so just going to have to read the flap. This is book 1 of something called the Avon Cycle, and it says, "The dictator is dead, long live the republic. But whose republic will it be? Senators, generals, and elemental mages vie for the power to shape the future of the city of Avon. Latona of the Vitale, a mage of spirit and fire, has suppressed her phenomenal talents for fear they would draw unwanted attention from unscrupulous men. Now that the dictator who threatened her family is gone, she may have an opportunity to seize a greater destiny as a protector of the people, if only she can find the courage to try." Her siblings, a widow who conceals a canny political mind in the guise of a frivolous socialite, a young prophetess learning to navigate a treacherous world, and a military tribune leading a dangerous expedition in the province of Iberia, will be her allies as she builds a place for herself in this new world against the objections of their father, her husband, and the strictures of Aventon society. Latona's path intersects with that of Sempronius Terran, an ambitious senator harboring a dangerous secret. Sacred law dictates that no mage may hold high office, but Sempronius, a shadow mage who has kept his abilities a lifelong secret, intends to do just that. As rebellion brews in the provinces, Sempronius must outwit the ruthless leader of the opposing Senate faction to claim the political and military power he needs to secure a glorious future for Avon and his own place in history. Okay, this could go either way. We appear to have a past, a fantasy setting inspired by Rome, but it looks like it's making the villains out to be, the various conquered peoples in the provinces, and the heroes are, I guess the colonizers who want to... I may be interpreting the whole thing wrong, though, so who knows. But I do like this kind of crypto-historical fantasy, as I like to call it. And Cass Morris from Unseen Fire is an April hardcover from DOS, so let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, next up we have Blackfish City, and this comes from Echo Books, which is a HarperCollins imprint. It's what I'm very happy to see. This is the first adult science fiction novel from Sam J. Miller, who has been nominated for quite a few awards for his short fiction, and then last year he had a book called The Art of Starving, which is a YA SF novel. This is an adult science fiction novel, and it seems kind of cool. Check it out. After the climate wars, a floating city called Kanak is constructed in the Arctic Circle, a remarkable feat of mechanical and social engineering, complete with geothermal heating and sustainable energy. The city's denizens have long become accustomed to a roughshod new way of living. However, the city is starting to fray along the edges. Crime and corruption have set in. The contradictions of incredible wealth alongside dire poverty are spawning unrest, and a new disease called the Breaks is ravaging the population. When a new visitor arrives, a strange new visitor, a woman riding an orca with a polar bear at her side. Those are squad goals right there. The city is entranced. The Orcamancer, as she is called, very subtly brings together 4 people, each living on the periphery, to stage unprecedented acts of resistance. There's Phil, privileged but suffering from the breaks, unsure who to turn to and desperate to keep the disease a secret. Kayev is a celebrated fighter, a journeyman athlete who throws fights to younger fighters in order to earn a living and favor from the leader of a local crime syndicate. Ankit is a professional serving a local politician whose power is crumbling as the city starts to unravel. And Sok is a gender-fluid, street-smart sideway messenger, an orphan they think who is searching for purpose. All 4 are drawn together to save their city before it collapses under the weight of its own decay. In doing so, they will learn shocking truths about themselves and about their connection to the mysterious and dangerous Orcamancer. So this sounds very much like it could be the kind of SF along the same vein as Autonomous by Annalee Newitz, or The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi. You have this climate-changed future where everything is really kind of dark and gritty and riddled with crime and corruption, but you have people trying to kind of overcome that, as it were. But I like the sound of it. This comes out April the 17th. So, yeah, let me know in the comments. Blackfish City. Okay, this next one looks like it comes from Prometheus Books, or Pyre. Oh, this looks kind of nice. Now, this is an arc for a new book called The Last Sun, and it's another debut novelist. The author is K.D. Edwards. And it's book one in something called the Tarot Sequence. Comes out June the 12th from Pyre. And it says, in this debut novel and series starter, the last member of a murdered house searches for a missing nobleman and uncovers clues about his own tortured past. Rune St. John, last child of the fallen Sun Court, is hired to search for Lady Judgment's missing son, Adam, on New Atlantis, the island city where the Atlanteans moved after ordinary humans destroyed their original home. With his companion and bodyguard, Brand, he questions Adam's relatives and business contacts through the highest ranks of the nobles of New Atlantis. But as they investigate, they uncover more than a missing man. A legendary creature connected to the secret of the massacre of Rune's court. In looking for Adam, can Rune find the truth behind his family's death and the torments of his past? Okay. That sounds kind of interesting. So, The Last Sun, the Tarot Sequence Book 1 from K.D. Edwards, comes out from Pyre Books on the 12th of June. Let me know in the comments. And coming up next, this one has come in from Angry Robot Books, and I'm pretty excited to see this. This is a new book by Jeff Noon. It's called The Body Library, and it follows on from a novel from last year called Man of Shadows, and this is basically science fiction noir. Okay? And that's a three-word combination that I'm a total sucker for. So in the second one, now I don't know if this is, again, a direct sequel or one that can be read on its own. You know, again, like Head On in that same future. But we'll see. Let's, okay, I have to read the back. Again, there's no sell sheet here. The Body Library, in a city where words come to life and reality is infected by stories. Private Eye John Nyquist wakes up in a room with a dead body. The dead man's impossible whispers plunge him into a murder investigation like no other. Clues scattered like punctuation send him ever deeper into an unfolding story that infests its participants as reality blurs between place and genre. Only one man can hope to put it all together enough that lives can be saved. That man is Nyquist, and he is lost. Okay, so it sounds like what's happening is these characters are finding themselves caught in an alternate reality that is essentially being written, you know, on the go, as it were. Like it's all kind of happening to them. And, it's fascinating. Okay, The Body Library. All right. Well, I think this one is out right now from Angry Robot Books, so let me know in the comments. And we are down to the final two. We've got two more from Random Penguins, so let us see what we shall see. Okay. Well, this could be cute. Huh. Yeah, parody fantasy, definitely. This is something called Kill the Farm Boy. And the authors are Delilah S. Dawson and Kevin Hearn. All right, working in collaboration. It's kind of neat. The Tales of Pell, a new fantasy series as heartwarming as it is humorous. Okay. This goes on sale July 17th from Del Rey. And let's see, this is an unforgettable tale, it says, that fractures all the tropes of the fairy tale genre with a subversive sense of humor. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, a hero, the Chosen One, was born, and so begins every fairy tale ever told. This is not that fairy tale. There is a Chosen One, but he is unlike any one who has ever been chosen. And there is a faraway kingdom, but you have never been to a magical world quite like the land of Pell. There, a plucky farm boy will find more than he's bargained for on his quest to awaken the sleeping princess in her cursed tower. First, there's the Dark Lord, who wishes for the boy's untimely death and also very fine cheese. Then there's a bard without a song in her heart, but with a very adorable and fuzzy tail. An assassin who fears not the night, but is terrified of chickens. And a mighty fighter more frightened of her sword than of her chainmail bikini. This journey will lead to sinister umlauts, a trash-talking goat, the dread necromancer Steve, and a strange and wondrous journey to the most peculiar happily ever after that once upon a time. Okay, so it sounds like, yeah, and it sounds like it wants to very much appeal to Terry Pratchett fans. It says Princess Bride. It wants to be that kind of book. Okay, here's the thing about novels like this. They're either going to score a total win, like they're either going to roll a critical 20 or a critical 1. Right? It's not gonna straddle the fence. It's either gonna be a raving hilarious success or it's gonna faceplant. That maybe I'm being a little bit unfair in my preconceptions there, but historically, my experience with books that want to be this kind of book, it's either they're awesome and they really nail it, or they just, hopefully, this one's the former. But, as I said, this comes out on July the 17th, so kill the farm boy. Let me know in the comments. And last up, one final random penguin package. And we're going to wrap up this week with the finished hardcover of Unbury Carol. This is a new book by Josh Malerman. I've already gotten this as an ARC a few weeks ago, you may remember, but I'm happy to have the finished copy now. Very nice looking. This comes out as a Del Rey hardcover on the 10th of April. Now, over the last Halloween celebration, the 12 Days of Halloween last year, I reviewed Josh Malerman's previous book, Black Mad Wheel. Didn't really think that highly of it, but this one sounds like it could be a pretty neat idea. Goes like this. Carol Evers is a woman with a dark secret. She has died many times, but her many deaths are not final. They are comas, a waking slumber indistinguishable from death, each lasting days. Only two people know of Carol's eerie condition. One is her husband, Dwight, who married Carol for her fortune and, when she lapses into another coma, plots to seize it by proclaiming her dead and quickly burying her alive. The other is her lost love, the infamous outlaw James Moxie. When word of Carol's dreadful fate reaches him, Moxie rides the trail again to save his beloved from an eerie, unnatural grave. And all the while awake and aware, Carol fights to free herself from the crippling darkness that binds her, summoning her own fierce will to survive. As the players in this drama of life and death fight to decide her fate, Carol must in the end battle to save herself. The haunting story of a woman literally bringing herself back from the dead. Unbury Carol is a twisted take on the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale that will stay with you long after you've turned the final page. Okay, well, I really dig, Weird West stuff and historical horror, as it were. So I've already been quite keen to read this and review it. But Unburied Carol comes out as a Del Rey hardcover, as I said, on the 10th of April. And there you have it, everybody. That is it for this week in the mailbag. You know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you'd like to see me prioritize in the review queue. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, leave a like, share the video far and wide with all your SFF reading friends, and above all, please sub if you haven't done so. That's how the channel grows. You can also support SFF180 at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks like getting to see some of these videos a little early. I had a couple new people last week, so I want to welcome them and thank all of my recruits in Wink's Army for their additional support. I want to thank you for being amazing viewers. And other than that, until I see you next time, happy reading.